Okay. So today we'll be talking about corporate social responsibility, or for short, CSR. So this is something that's being talked a lot about in the business realm, about CSR initiatives, the CSR of certain companies. Okay, what are they doing? And we often see CSR as something philanthropical in nature, but it goes a little bit deeper than that. Okay. So when we talk about corporate social responsibility, or CSR, it's the social responsibility of a business that encompasses the economic, legal, ethical, and discretionary expectations that society has of organizations. What we have to understand with businesses nowadays is that society has a certain level of expectation on how a business should act, especially with regards to their environment. So, for example, we expect businesses to be sustainable, to be ethical, okay, to be, of course, legal in the sense that they follow all the laws of the land, okay, ethical in how they treat their employees, and so on and so forth. And society has these expectations on our businesses, okay? And CSR is the larger, more inclusive notion of social involvement of businesses and firms. So this is encompassing of our business ethics, and it's usually based on and motivated by the need to give back or solidarity with the community they belong to. So for example, SM has CSR initiatives that benefit those in the community around them. So Metro Manila, provinces, and on. So you would see Jollibee having CSR initiatives that aim to help fight malnutrition in the country. And this is CSR is usually motivated by the need to give back. Okay, but it's not necessarily the sole reason or that companies do corporate social responsibility initiatives. Okay, so a company has three main obligations when it comes to their corporate social responsibility. So the first one is the legal obligation. So every company has legal obligations, meaning that they are expected to perform activities that are legal. Okay, so in the same way that us as citizens or people living in the Philippines are obligated to follow the laws and the rules that we have. So are businesses. That's why in the previous module where we talked about government intervention, it's very important that businesses adhere to the rules and regulations imposed on them. They also have economic obligations. So businesses have the obligation to pay their taxes, provide employment, okay, contribute to the overall economic well-being of the country, which is why a lot of politicians then in our government tries to protect the business environment because this is good for economic purposes. And of course, they have philanthropic obligations, and this varies from business to business. So, for example, Jollibee might be more focused on fighting malnutrition, same as with San Miguel or Pure Foods, while some companies such as, let's say, airline companies may be concerned with ecotourism or sustainability. So each business has their own philanthropic obligations. And these obligations are based on the expectation that society has of the business. So for example, a business like Jollibee is obligated by or expected by society that they perform their obligations to provide jobs, economic growth, okay, and even to provide philanthropic services, okay, or initiatives. And businesses have to live up to the ethical and legal expectations of the society that has on them, especially now that often unethical businesses or illegal business practices are often frowned upon by society. So, for example, marami tayong controversies regarding to, for example, NutriAsia and how they unethically treated their employees. And that has a negative effect on their brand image, as well as how for a time people boycotted their products. Okay? Um, so when businesses fail to live up to the ethical and legal expectations, okay, society often turns their back on the business. Okay, and it can become a really big issue. And the satisfaction of shareholder profits is oriented towards economic contributions of the firms to society. And these are just the characteristics of CSR initiatives. You have to remember that the CSR is an investment of the company. They have to put out money to conduct these initiatives. So for example, the feeding program of Jollibee that fights malnutrition, they have to put out money. Okay, hindi naman what costless initiative na to. Companies still has to invest their money in these initiatives. And no profit is generated by the CSR itself, meaning yung mga initiatives na to, they cost money but they don't necessarily gain revenue or profit by the CSR project. But instead, it it is meant to benefit society so that society can further encourage and support business progress. So for example, going back to our Jollibee example, when Jollibee has a feeding program, okay, while they do um, lose money, okay, in return, society often looks favorable upon Jollibee, meaning that they encourage and support this business progress. So for example, pag nagtayo ka ng Jollibee, okay, more and more people will support your business because they know that Jollibee is doing their part in helping society. And you need to take care of the community you're in or the society you're in order for your business to function. Okay, so a business without customers will fail. Okay. Now, when you create your own CSR initiatives, there are certain criteria that need to be met for it to be considered quote unquote successful. So first one, business-based social purpose. So the CSR must reflect what the business is and what the business does. Meaning when you're creating a CSR initiative for your company or a CSR initiative created for a company needs to reflect what the business does. And often successful CSR initiatives reflect this. So for example, Cebu Pacific has the One Effect initiative that promotes sustainable tourism because this highlights the aspect of the business or something related to the business itself. Okay? So for example, kung magpapa-project yung Jollibee, it has to be centered around nutrition, food, okay, and all those other things, or even agriculture, because it is part of the business, it's something that affects the business. Most successful CSR initiatives are in some way related to what the business does. Next is there's a clear theory of change. So the business must try to achieve social change through its initiative. And this is something very important. There must be an immediate concern in society that the business aims to correct. So most successful CSR initiatives aims to address an immediate concern. So for example, if we're talking about the problem with the environment, global warming, okay, certain initiatives are more successful because they try to address the concern that we have now. Okay. So for example, si Jollibee, okay, it'll be good if they would have some big long-term projects such as eco-agricultural projects or magtatayo sila ng malalaking wind turbines sa Luzon to power Luzon. Tas may mukha ni Jollibee doon or something. Okay. Pero these are things that could be done in the long run. But for example, if they're not addressing immediate concerns such as malnutrition or students who go to school with nothing to eat, it becomes less and less relevant to the people or to society. Okay, so for example, hindi may we sometimes don't think of problems we may have in the long run when we have a problem facing us right now. Okay, sabihin natin yung final project nyo for a class. Okay, the final paper, even if it's given to you 2 months ahead, if you have homework due tomorrow or the next day, must concern you or you will be more concerned with what's due immediately rather than something at the end of the 2 months. Okay? Businesses should also operate in the same mindset na pag may CSR sila, if they have a CSR initiative or project, it has to be something people are concerned with now. Because the projects that addresses concerns in the future when society has a clear problem now will be something that people won't really support or understand yet. Next is the quality and depth of information. Extensive information about the company and the concerns the initiative is trying to address is supposed to be properly promoted. Okay, so successful CSR initiatives are able to promote their projects and give the proper information to the public. Okay, one, it again it allows people to support the project itself, and of course, it's also good for the business as it helps them get a better brand image. Okay, so we're not just thinking here about what the business can do for society, pero through these methods, it ensures that the practice is sustainable. Because again, if only one side is benefiting, it becomes very difficult for a business to continue to invest in that project. Okay, while it's all well and good that giving back is something we always try to um, look towards, okay, or expect of other people, it becomes more sustainable for businesses when they're investing in something that helps them get a good image then as a business, that gets them the support they need from the community. So it's important for successful CSR initiatives to actually provide extensive information about the business and what they're trying to do. Okay. Next is concentrated efforts. So when a CSR initiative can only be successful if the business itself is wholly united in pursuing the concerns the CSR aims to address. So regardless if you're in sales, finance, marketing, vice president ka, uh, custodian ka, okay, the business must be wholly united and everyone understands what what the CSR aims to address. This way, the resources would be guided or would be pointed towards achieving the goal of the CSR. And of course, something very important, the last one, is that businesses should associate itself with respected members of the community to give credibility to the programs. So facts and data must be verified from reliable sources to prove the effectiveness of the program. Meaning when you're conducting a CSR initiative, you partner with those who understand the concern or what you're trying to do. So, balikan natin si Jollibee. Okay, Jollibee can have a feeding program. But if they're not partnering themselves with nutrition experts or the local government unit to provide meals for children, okay, it becomes not so successful because you don't have experts with you who are guiding the CSR initiative. Okay, for example, nagpa-feeding program ka or you conducted a feeding program, tapos wala ka namang alam sa nutrition. Okay, pinakain nyo sa mga bata, breakfast, lunch, dinner, piatos, V-cut, tas french fries, yun lang. You're not helping address the concern needed, which is malnutrition, which is why it's important to partner with experts. And it doesn't just mean learned individuals, meaning doctors, nutritionists, lawyers. It also means with the community itself. So, pag magsi-CSR initiative kayo, for example, you'll go to a town or a village, tapos kausapin nyo or talk to the people there, understand what their concerns are, what they actually need, because sometimes we tend to assume that what they need is from our point of view, pero hindi naman pala yun yung kailangan nila or that's not really what they need. So let's not fall for that trap na we assume what communities need. Successful CSR initiatives are those that are partnered with experts and the community itself. It's a community effort. Okay, the business is there giving the money, investing on the products that are needed for the initiative. But in the end, it's a community effort, and you need the help of those in the community and with experts to make sure that the initiative is successful. So when you're creating CSR projects, you always have to remember these criterias so that you can create a CSR initiative that is actually meant for success. Yeah. Thank you.